Hey, welcome to EPN. My name is Victor Lucas, and we bring you the latest in everything cool every single day. I'm happy to report that the rundown is brought to you by our friends at the VFS School of Game Design. Thumbs up to our pals at VFS. Now, this rundown is dedicated to True Backlash PSV, who has been watching EP and reviews on the run for about 15 years. Finally found our channel. This rundown is all yours. The studio behind the Hitman franchise is in a lot of trouble. Danish game developer IO Interactive, which created the Hitman video games, is being dropped by their parent company, Square Enix. In financial lingo, Square Enix says they've decided to withdraw from IO Interactive, which means the studio will need to find new investors soon in order to stay alive. Square Enix acquired IO and the Hitman franchise back in 2009 when they purchased IO's former parent company, Eidos, but they've decided to cut the studio after Square Enix as a whole posted yearly financial losses of about 5 billion yen, which works out to about $43 million US. They haven't released official sales figures for IO's latest Hitman game, which was released last year, although we can guess that it didn't sell as well as expected given the fact that they're dropping the studio. Going forward, Square Enix says that they plan to focus their resources and energies on key franchises, which means they don't look at Hitman as a key franchise anymore. We hope this doesn't mean the end of IO or the Hitman series. The games have been revolutionary for their interactivity, giving players countless different ways to eliminate their targets and complete each level. The good news is that discussions with potential new investors for IO are already underway, although there's no guarantee that these negotiations will be successful. We'll let you know what happens. DC Comics and the CW want to capture lightning in a bottle once again with another new TV series. The network has officially given a first season order to the new show Black Lightning, based on the DC hero of the same name. The show, which already has a pilot episode, will take place in the CW's Arrowverse alongside Arrow, The Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, and Supergirl. That means you can expect plenty of crossover appearances. So who is Black Lightning? The character first appeared on comic shelves in 1977, and his superpower is basically the ability to generate bolts of lightning from his body. He was one of DC's first major African-American superheroes, which was quite the culture shock back in the day, and the new TV series follows a growing trend towards more diversity in film and television. In the new show, he'll be played by actor Cress Williams, seen here in the first teaser image, and production is slated to begin soon. The show premieres this fall. Audiences may not have to contend with as many xenomorphic aliens as feared. It looks like Ridley Scott won't be making as many new Alien movies as originally planned. With the new Alien Covenant hitting theaters next week, Scott had been talking about making an entire series of new films with no less than 4 sequels in mind, and the first slated to go into production next year. Now he might be scaling things back. Speaking with Yahoo Movies, Scott revealed that he's actually not sure how many new Alien films he wants to make. Maybe he'll do only 2 more or just 1. The 79-year-old filmmaker didn't give any reasons for his change of heart, although it might have something to do with the fact that Alien Covenant has received mixed early reviews so far. I saw the film last night and I can't wait to tell you guys what I thought. We'll let you know if the franchise survives. And another big science fiction franchise might be putting on the brakes as well. Yesterday, it was revealed that Mass Effect developer BioWare has pushed back an unannounced new game by about a year. That game is part of a new original IP and isn't based on one of their existing franchises, but now one of their existing franchises is apparently being pushed back as well. Kotaku reports that BioWare's parent company, Electronic Arts, has put the Mass Effect franchise on hold. The site claims that Mass Effect Andromeda developer BioWare Montreal has scaled down production on future entries in the series and is instead serving as a support developer on other EA projects like Star Wars Battlefront 2. There's no telling how long the franchise might be on hold, but maybe it could use a bit of a breather. Andromeda was a fun game, but launched with several big bugs and glitches, which was damaging to the franchise's reputation, especially after the poor reception of the previous game, Mass Effect 3. We still love the series and hope that whenever it does return, it's better than ever. In the meantime, the developers are still improving Andromeda with new patches and updates, and they plan to release a new story DLC later this year. A big game franchise wants to get a payday from the emerging virtual reality market. Developer Overkill Software has announced that they're working on a VR mode for their co-op shooter Payday 2. Like the main game, you and your team will be able to rob banks and take on the cops, only this time in VR with hand-tracked controllers. If some members of your team don't own VR headsets, the co-op will work between headsets and regular PCs so you can mix and match. Best of all, Overkill says the new VR mode will be free to anyone who already owns the game, although those fancy headsets themselves unfortunately aren't free. Just don't try to rob a bank in real life to get one, alright? The new VR mode doesn't have a release window yet, but Overkill says a beta test will take place later this year. You know VR is becoming more and more mainstream because in other VR news, Google is taking a bigger step into the format. The tech giant has bought game developer Alchemy Labs, which created the popular VR games Rick and Morty Virtual Reality and Job Simulator. In a statement, the team at Alchemy says that Google will give them the financial security they need to pursue creative VR games and other projects, and they'll still be making games for the HTC Vive, Oculus Touch, and PlayStation VR, and won't be limited to just Google's Daydream VR platform. Google has been making inroads into VR with Daydream and other endeavors like their cardboard headset, and Alchemy is their first VR game studio. The VR industry is expected to grow exponentially over the next few years, so expect to see more and more big companies rush to embrace the format. Prepare to go rogue, again, because more Risk of Rain is on the forecast. The 2013 roguelike PC game Risk of Rain is getting a sequel. Developer Hopoo Games revealed the news on their official Tumblr page, and the biggest difference this time around is that the sequel will be fully 3D and won't just be a 2D side-scroller like its predecessor. The original Risk of Rain was developed by two students from the University of Washington and became a big success thanks to its blend of heavy RPG elements with procedurally generated roguelike environments, meaning that new levels are generated randomly on the fly, so the game is different every time you play it. Maintaining the same roguelike elements in 3D seems like an ambitious undertaking. They stress that the sequel is still in the very early stages of development, so things could change. Get ready to punch, kick, smack, and block your opponents in a whole new way. Publisher Devolver Digital has announced that the online hand-to-hand fighting game Absolver will hit the PC and PS4 on August 29th. The thing that makes Absolver unique is that it doesn't just offer one kind of combat. There are multiple combat styles spanning different martial arts disciplines, and players have the ability to take different moves from all of them and string them together in unique ways, which means you can basically create your own fighting style. Since this is an online game, you'll be able to observe and pick up different moves and styles from the other players you encounter, so pay close attention when you're fighting them. Absolver is the first game from indie developer Slow Clap, a Paris-based studio founded by former members of Ubisoft Paris who worked on games like Watch Dogs and Ghost Recon Wildlands. That's it for our rundown. If you'd like to learn more about game design, visit our pals at VFS.edu. We'll be back again tomorrow with a brand new episode. And in the meantime, click around and check out some of our other content. And if you like it, hit subscribe, okay?